Hello, hello. Getting started here in a minute. How's everyone doing today? I think we are going to some tunes on for myself. Feels like a lo-fi kind of day. There we go. So today we are going to be looking at Docusaurus some more. And more specifically, integrating CSS solutions to that. Just grabbing a couple of things here. I always forget to tell people about stream. So doing that real quick here. Okay. Good looking at some content. All right, let's switch this one. There we go. Cool. All right, so we have a few. Oh, they're default pages now. The V2. Nice. Maybe that happened recently. I don't quite remember now. Memory thing. We've got Docusaurus on a couple projects. I have some for work and some for other open source stuff that I contribute to. And it works well for spinning up something fast, and it looks decent. I'm sure the designer folk out there might have more opinions than that, but I like what it can get me and how quickly it can get me to that. And it uses a thing called Infoma. Let's see if you can find it in there. TypeScript support, styling and layout. So you pull in these presets. And that's mostly how we're dealing with our CSS. So Infoma is a design system that, came out of Facebook. Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't realize it was specifically for Docusaurus too. So the thing that we're looking at right now is we've got on our website, our main website, we've been experimenting with a new library called Vanilla Extract. I think it's in pull request right now. It's looking really good. Shout out to Jorge, who's put a lot of effort into these styles. And what we're interested in is taking that effort and pulling it into Docusaurus as well. We have a bunch of open source things that we work on, of which are using Docusaurus for the documentation website. It would be really great to share this work done here, either in pieces or in a whole, and pull that into Docusaurus. That's kind of what we're going to look at today, what we can do with that. I think we've got interactors. I think we've got an interactor site, and that might be the one that we try this with. Saw something here. Yes. So one of the big things, or maybe the MVP that we'd like, is typography. Ideally, that may or may not be a possible thing to do through Vanilla Extract, at least. But at minimum, we want to be able to look at what we could do with this top nav bar and see if we could replace it with something that would that we could kind of stylistically keep in sync across all of the documentation sites that we have. So, where should we get started? I think we'll pull down, start looking at a little bit of code. I think I've got this cloned. We will find out. I don't. Okay. We actually just split this out of this used to be embedded within the big test repo. You see is number 2 on my terminal right now. But it has sort of taken its life of its own, and it made sense to pull it out into its own thing, so it could, you know, let it fly, as it were. Oh, open up its wings and fly. And the interactors we've actually been experimenting with on stream the past few streams. So that's been pretty fun. Okay, we've got it cloned. Nope, wrong interactor. There we go. Digging these beats. How's everybody in the chat today? Good night, or morning, or afternoon, whatever time you are existing in. So, oh, this is using yarn. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Also, hey Jorge. That's I think that's definitely the that's the goal for the stream. Oh, is this in the workspace? Email? No, it's not. Oh, I actually need to go into that and install. This is the format for workspaces I don't see very often. I usually see something like package star. Appears to be a network connection issue. Of course. Well, this is, oh, there we go. Now we got movement. Well that's working. Let's let's look at styling and layout. So Vanilla Extract uses Webpack or relies on Webpack. And I believe that this does as well. This being Docusaurus. Now they have a few notes on how you can like pull in stuff. It's great. We might end up needing to do global styles. But that might be something that we hook up Webpack into their build system, which builds our CSS, and then it uses the CSS directly. That is kind of what I'm expecting. It'll be available globally, yeah. So there's the global, and then there's the local stuff. I think the local stuff will end up, well, I guess potentially we could just output it all as one CSS file for right now. And then, ooh, that's kind of cool. This is actually interactive. So there was a way to hook into the theme wrapping. There's a way to hook into this Webpack build. Where you hook into the lifecycle methods. Yeah, it sort of feels like we do need to force it through plugin. Which is a thing. I mean, if we're looking at their style and layout, there's the traditional stuff, which uses a plugin, or I guess they call it a preset. But even looking at things like CSS modules or Sass, those use plugins. So I think we might end up needing to do potentially a plugin and a preset. Like this might end up being what we potentially look like. Docusaurus. Kind of weird that they didn't merge these together. I feel like that's sort of, so like to use this, we have a plugin. The plugin creates the CSS file, and then we use the preset classic to pull in this CSS file. So we'll have to see how it's actually, if we hook into this Webpack build, how it's actually the classes, how it outputs those classes. Oh. Hey, look at that. Configure Webpack. Could probably just copy that. Installing, configuring. I thought there was something marked on feature docs. I thought I remembered seeing something about the lifecycle methods. They've got search right. Yep. Life cycle. Under API. Okay. That has always confused me a little bit, like not having the API in the sidebar. I always forget that it's a separate tab. So I'm looking through here. I'm like, I wish there was. I feel like I'm missing stuff, and it is because I'm missing stuff because it's under API. Oh well. So if we look at Docusaurus plugin SaaS, it's doing a module.exports, and it's using configure Webpack, which I'm presuming will be right here. So we get config. Prince, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Did Manny end up finishing? Did you stick around to the end of? Is Manny still streaming? I caught a bunch of that and obviously started this, so I didn't catch the end of it. Nice. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. We are working with Docusaurus, which is a documentation, effectively like a static site generator for documentation sites. And for better or worse, the styling is kind of baked into things, and you need to do plugins to modify that. And we're interested in that today, particularly pulling in a library called Vanilla Extract. So I think we're gonna end up just making a combination of these two things. I'm assuming that we can do like local plugins. Let's see, local. I don't really want to like. I mean, this might be something that can be published eventually, but I don't actually need it published anywhere. So plugins. That's not particularly helpful. Thanks, it's an array. Bug on my ceiling. I may have to remove it, but I'll try to ignore it for right now. So I really just want to create by all the plugins, use plugin data. So I'm going to guess that we can just the way it's specifying this. I'm assuming that it does need it as a package, and considering they don't have any additional documentation on it, leads me to believe that's the situation. Oh, or the absolute path to the plugin. Okay. we don't have to like deal with workspaces and whatnot. That's good. This is finally done. We're gonna go over to the website directory because that's actually not part of the workspace. Well, I don't have to uninstall there again. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna call this folder plugins. Folder, not a file. Plugins slash I forgot what their typical format is. What do they call it? Just plugin content, plugin something. Where'd the SAS one go? Oh. Like, what's the SAS one called? Okay, Docusaurus plugin SAS. Okay, I think we're gonna call it Docusaurus. Did I spell that right? Yes. Plugin vanilla extract. How's it my text size, by the way? Just a little bit on the small side. I kind of feel it might be the case, but let me know if it needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so I think we could pretty much just copy this and play around with it a little bit. Just double check this package JSON. So it says an absolute path. We go back, absolute path to the plugin. Does that mean to the folder and we're expecting a package JSON in there? Or does that mean to an actual like script? Guess we're about to find out. So hopefully our install is done. It is done. Now we're gonna look at our config. So we've got the classic in here. Oh, that's the presets. Is there plugins? This is nice. Where did I see it? I just saw it as I was scrolling by. On broken links. I appreciate that. So easy to accidentally include broken links. Oh, so you can just include a global style sheet too. Interesting. Save that nugget for later. Plugins. How do we specify you? Nested arrays is an interesting choice. Docusaurus. So absolute. Wait. Or the absolute path to the plugin. Does this mean that this isn't gonna work? I don't want to have to hard code the whole absolute plugin or absolute path. Docusaurus plugins. Yep. Vanilla extract. We'll just see if it yells at us. Turn start. So Jorge was saying apply one of the typography CSS classes. And we were also looking at the header. Oh, it opened it twice. Nice. Oh, we'll give that a second to load. What do we want to pull through? Closed it already, of course. Go to this branch. 56 commits. Boy, did we do some work. Styles, I'm assuming is where we're looking. This seems to be front side theme. And typography CSS. Okay. There's a lot going on here. We might just try to do a test one. Just like change the background color or something like that. Okay, so we've got the Interactors website. Oh, that's interesting. That image not on the website. Okay, so we've got this. Did it actually like name Docusaurus? I don't know if that actually matters, but didn't yell at us or anything. Which is a little bit surprising. Try build real quick. So like there's nothing. It's looking for a SAS loader. Like if it was actually loading this, I would have expected it to fail because we don't have a SAS loader to my knowledge. Yeah, see that's what I was expecting. No. That's not what I was expecting. Corbin. What? That's interesting. There's a client and a server build. That's interesting. And it's putting it in the public / interactors directory. Curious with the client versus. Okay, so that definitely built. So if it could very well be. Now if this errors out in the same way, it could just be a poorly throw an error. No. So I'm wondering if this is not even getting invoked, because this should be throwing an error if it is. So let's try slash index.js. And if that doesn't work, I can try doing the absolute path. I just want to see if we can get this path to work. You know what I could do though? So this is JavaScript. We can do require.resolve. Don't think we're gonna particularly run into issues here. Let's go back to there. Can provide just the plugin name or the absolute path to the plugin. Oh, this style is called Babel style. Interesting. I kind of wish they had an example. It doesn't seem like I suppose what we could also do is just log. Yeah, because it doesn't seem to be touching it at all. I am kind of guessing that it actually needs a package file of the same name. That's fine. Now, if we resolve that, what is that going to give us? Yarn. Oh. Oh. Yeah, okay, I did an ls. I thought I did an ns. So ns is just an alias that will list out the scripts in a package JSON. Bouncing between so many projects, I can never remember what's what. And how I'm supposed to start stuff. Let's try build again. Hmm. Curious. It is there. It is there. Do we have SAS loader somewhere? Yarn Y SAS loader. I wonder why that's not throwing an error. Good style loaders. Yeah, we'll make it a let. Guess I can do that. It is more of a const. Where are you gonna be okay with it? Right there. So it does seem to be loading it. I think we'll keep that required out resolved. I think that's probably good. I'm a little bit curious if we actually just to satisfy my curiosity. If we say ignore, is it still gonna build? Well, is it still go? No, it's not. It's still gonna log that out because I removed it. That. Let it finish up, I guess. It'd be nice to have like a watch script, or something, because it's doing a lot every time you hit build. So I don't need it. Okay. Okay. Boop. Goodbye. Just to double check. All right. So let's pull in. So we feel like we're doing some back things. Yes. Not specific enough. Let's pull in vanilla extract. Webpack setup, please. Yarn add. I guess it's not really a dev dependency. And this is what we end up with. So we need to add it onto the plugins array. Return module. Well, the question is it deep merging this stuff? If I return just this, is it gonna work? Because I don't really need all the SAS loader stuff. I don't really like that, but we might need to do this. Not 100% certain. We'll try this though. That should give us something to run off of. Still hitting it. Hopefully it does something. There's not much going on, so I'm not expecting any actual real output from this. And now as a quick test. So vars, so front side theme. I'll pull this in for right now. Is that actually doing any? No. And I think I do have Proxima Nova my fonts. So if we do this and pull it over, I think I'm not gonna do. We've got a CSS directory already. So I might as well put it in there. Front side theme dot css dot not dash dot css. Really like those dashes today. Okay, edited. We got that there. So then from the front side theme, we can do a global, which I think is probably going to be the easiest way to invoke this. Global.css.ts, and this should pull in the typography stuff. Okay, so that's all text stuff. Theme. Global. I'm not certain if we're actually going to see anything here, but we will find out. I probably need to, so this is a global. Yes, yeah, okay, find it again. Okay, so how do we pull in the global on our website? I do not remember offhand. I think that was something that I already set up. We just put it on our. Oh. Did we just. Where did we put it? Oh, I bet you put it in the layout component. That's kind of what pulls it in everywhere. That must be what we do. Yes. Okay. So we pull in the global somewhere. So I guess to get it on the page, we're gonna need to adjust something. So out of curiosity, what is this doing? So it's got the plugin Sass. All it's telling it how to do is load Sass files. So that must be allowing you to actually import that. So it's essentially just providing a loader. That's what this is doing. So the preset classic and then load this stuff, which is fine. And what we have with our current Webpack config, we'll run it. But I'm not certain. Where does it put this? So it's hooking into the Webpack build. Webpack is going to spit it out into some place. And then it needs to be imported. So if I run a build, expected to see it in the dist if we've got something hooked up correctly there. Well, I guess in our case it's public. Oh, keeps deleting it. Okay, okay, all right. IFM, I'm guessing, is Infama. So I think it's just doing this one CSS file because we have custom CSS, which is what it looks like it's doing. So what can you configure for debug? No, we don't care about that right now. So plugins, module rules. Where does it put it? Um, I don't see it showing up anywhere. Oh, and we do have fs button, so we could potentially bring something in here. Fs button.module.css. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, also, you know what? We need to, so we're using sprinkles. So we need to install that as well. I don't remember what the Badmin plugin does. So we've got right now CSS and Webpack plugin. We might need a CSS utils. I'm assuming that's used somewhere. That makes sense to pull that in. And so, wow, we're at 1.6 already. I thought we had sprinkles in here. Spring. Wonder if we got rid of it. It kind of seems like we did. Maybe we don't actually need that. Let's say anything about spring. Remove sprinkles. Sure enough. Okay. Which probably means we remove the box too. Okay. So I think we have what we need. So if I would do something like FS button. Like I think that's the FS button. We look at the class CTA button. It's an link. Interesting. FS button. So where is that used? Find FS button. Grab form. Oh, I turn it off. Ah. So I think we find this button. Yep, close. We find this button. We see if we can adjust the styles. And ideally that's just gonna work. In all reality, it's probably not. Where's that button used? Description. Interesting. I wonder if that's just not used. Subscribe form. Pages is not used. All right, so it looks like we do have a index in pages, so we can adjust this. I've got a link. Get started. Yep. Yep. So if I just go ahead and drop, if I just drop a button in here, button. What is that going to look like? Formatted a bunch of stuff. That's kind of annoying. The formatting isn't great. Now we need to import the button. And that comes in from /component /fs button. Okay. We've got something. Loading. We have something loading. Key. But it appears to not be what we want loading. Button. Here. So right under get started. Should have button there. We do not have button there. What didn't I save? I mean, okay, fine. It's odd that we don't get. That's the CTA button. Which is that? Oh, of course. We don't have anything there, so it must just be like, okay, all right. Highlight is not defined. You are correct. I understand highlight is not defined. Why are you still throwing that error though? Did it crash? Something? Okay, so it's actually recompiling every time. It's doing something. Which is good to see. Let's actually do, I'm gonna spin up a new button. Oh, I guess I need to make a new file. Boop button.js. We're not gonna have any styles. So component props to its link, otherwise it's a button. So I'm fine with the button. I'm not gonna have any class name. Because we're gonna, okay, come on, cooperate. So I think this is going to be the minimal case. What are you doing here? VS Code, you are. So it's default export. Oop button. Still running, our Webpack is still running here. Now we should be able to see something. Highlight is still not defined. Ah, hey, there we go. Okay, so we got a boot button. Now, if we would want to choose to style this button, what can we do about that? I think we've got a, oh boy, that's, so, okay, so this is a CSS file. Pulling in some base stuff. Oh, I see. Okay. the .css threw me off, so I was like, oh, it's just CSS files then. No, it is. Closed it, didn't I? Might be easier to look at it here. So if we go into styles, it was actually pointing at this. There's a lot going on. Really, we just care about base button. Base button feels like a good. It's a good piece to look at. So if we say boop button.css.ts, and you can see here, this is why I pulled in the front side theme. And where is that? So it's in CSS. So /CSS. So I pulled in this front side theme.css.ts because I needed the vars. So this should give me base button. Now I believe I can use base button within. Feeling rusty. I don't remember how this is all set up. Okay, so base button. I would like to see how it's applied. Oh, yes. So you can combine things via style now. That is nice. I forgot about that. And that might be the reason that we got rid of sprinkles. I'm gonna have to ask for a what fueled that decision. So like copy button is just the base button. So where does copy button show up? Yeah, so all we need to do now is import it, I believe. So we do something like import base button from oh, I guess it's next to it. Oop. I'm interested. We're just gonna surprise that IntelliSense isn't helping us here. Boop button.css.ts. And we want to put it on the class name. Name equals that. Now I could actually do it on the boop button. It's oh, you know what? I should be doing it on that. Literally as I'm saying that, I'm like, why am I doing it here? My intention was, this is why I probably wasn't finishing it for us. Why the IntelliSense wasn't helping us out. So like that's what I really should be doing. And I'm not specifying a class name in that case. So what do we got? Module not found, but it seems to be finding it now. I appreciate those Webpack builds seem to be pretty snappy. Okay. That looks like base styles. That looks like base styles right there. So if we did a build, because sometimes the build and the That's really super simple. Sometimes the base styles are, or excuse me, sometimes the styles operate differently in dev versus build. So it seems like we're getting a color button. And the only thing that we could potentially be styling it with is the vanilla extract stuff. So if we do yarn build, we should then be able to do yarn serve. And if all of that works without error, we should see those same styles on the served version. And if we got that, we have some pretty good progress. So yarn serve, I always type server. I've been making too many servers, I guess, lately. Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. So it serves it in the same directory. Didn't work. Okay. What if we don't have this hooked up right? That could be it. If we go to introduction, do we say anything? No, we don't. CLI serve. Psych directory. Full path to the output directory relative to the current workspace. What do you default to? Specify host. Website before serving the full path for the output directory. So it should match out directory. So our out directory is just directory. I guess we'll have to restart that. We're gonna see if this works, and then we might take a quick stretch break. Yes. All right. So the next thing we want to look at, we're getting some styles in here. So go. Oh, is this changed? Computed text font. Look at that. We're getting global styles too. I totally didn't even notice. I guess if we put them next to each other, slash interact. Well, so it's setting it correctly, it's just not serving it. Oh, I guess we have it set there too. Okay, so that might actually just have been coincidence. Real quick before I take that stretch. Global CSS. Margin, background is white. just to test, I am going to save that, and I'm going to switch this to be yarn start. Now let's see if we, suppose I can remove that. I'm curious as to if these global styles are applying. I'm assuming we need to apply them to like a root somewhere. Does this, okay, public. So it doesn't look like black. We still are only getting that one CSS file. I wonder if that is just how it works. Boop. Boop, where are you? Is it inlining it? Oh boy. Okay. So that'd be on the home page. So it's all spa. Spa. I know they're talking about doing some SSR stuff too. Hopefully that comes online at some point, but it's curious, like where is this? I love how there's two images. It's interesting. Oh. Button. Boop. Hey, there we go. Okay. So boop button Bipu 90. Where is it pulling the CSS from here? So that is in our config script meta. Preload.js. Okay. So if we search for the boop, go away. I don't need you right now. We want to look for this. So let's, so what I'm hoping to see is that it shows up in this so that I understand where it's being output to. It appears to be the case. Yes. So it is not, it is doing one big styles file, which, yeah. But we effectively have component level control of our CSS. So if we drop some global stuff in here, we'll have to figure out how to get the global stuff in the DOM. But I think we have a path forward for components, which is at the very least that's a good first step, because that'll give us, that should give us a heading and other like interactive elements like buttons and stuff like that. And if we're left with like layout and global styles, it wouldn't be horrible to try to just handle that in CSS. Ideally, we want it all to come in. I don't know if we just blitz the styles that we have existing, but I think we want pull in and probably shim in our stuff where it's appropriate rather than just like blitzing over the top of everything that's here. Okay, we are gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna stretch and then we'll look at a header. See you in a minute. Mic was muted. Oops. At least I noticed right away. Well, okay, so I was saying, what did I say? We got synthwave on now. Focusing up here, we're gonna work on getting this header in, and it's done through like a component override, if I remember correctly. So there's a bunch of markdown things we can do, and we might end up getting to that for specific components. And some of this we might end up. Does it make sense to make this a package? I don't know. Could be. We might it might be worthwhile to make like a component package to pull it into all of our repos. And that would potentially give us access to some of these things. So like these you can edit. You can pull this right into your MDX, but you can also override that. So that the tabs are consistent everywhere. So, well, that's kind of interesting. Oh, okay. So this does, you can specify which browsers you expect to support, which is how they will compile your JS for you. I thought it was something a little bit different. Deployment, we don't care about that at the moment. Maybe it's under themes, theme components. Most of the time, theme is used to provide a set of React components. Given the following structure, that navbar takes precedence whenever navbar is imported. Okay. Swizzling. That is the term that I was looking for. Oh, I didn't realize that was an iOS thing. I haven't done enough iOS dev to have that background. So the themes are providing components. And we could do our we can do our own theme. We could pull that into multiple sites. So we can do this potentially in a shared location and then grab that and pull it in. And it might not actually be worth pulling this in via package. We could potentially just use like get reference, since most of these are going to be public anyways. Since it's our website's public, and as in the GitHub repo is public, as well as all of our open source stuff. So you can set a theme root, then we can adjust the layout, and we'll never unmount. So this might be something that we could use to swizzling theme components. See, this is the command is nice, but I don't know what that's called. So now I have to go sleuthing through to figure that out. I suppose I could just do this. I could just do that and delete all the stuff I don't want to do. That's probably the easiest, which is sort of it's the nuclear launch approach. But also I think with this root we can apply our global styles there. We would just import them. It would just be like a side effect thing. And here, wrapping theme components. We want to look at the header first. So we're probably not going to wrap that. We're probably going to overwrite that, because most of those are going to be okay if they're hard-coded links, I believe. Theme design, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try. Okay, let's close all the things here. We need to find what we're using. We are using Reset Classic. Oh, is there a theme? Theme config. Kind of nice to have this here though. I guess that's in the footer. We don't necessarily need to change the footer. Okay, here, presets. Yep, so theme, docs, preset classic. We can try it. I'm not sure what theme classic is. Because we don't actually have a theme. Because there's only 2 themes. Theme, live, code block. That's kind of cool. I do want to try, especially on this interactors thing, I would like to try getting a live component that works with the interactors. I think that would be a cool integration. It would be a way for somebody to kind of kick the tires right off the bat. The theme config. Is it just like built in? All right, well, we don't actually use themes anymore, do we? Themes. That's odd. So I think what we do, we'll try swizzling this, but I think there is actually the theme. So yarn run. Swizzle that. So we'll see if that has any components or if it just throws an error. Yes. So does it use this? Convert to the theme configuration page. Oh, look at that navbar. Code block, footer, hooks. Kind of wish it did. Classic theme. You have installed the preset classic, then you don't need to install it. So what's the preset call? Like, where's that coming? Like, it must just come in as a dependency. So, if I did it this way, what are you gonna give me? Is it technically is being pulled in through dependency, I'm assuming? Unsafe. That's kind of cool. Navbar is part of a... Huh. Okay, so now we've quote unquote swizzled. So I could run that and it would actually swizzle everything. If you wish to do that, do that. Turn, run, swizzle. What if they changed it? Because I am swizzling everything. And it just lists the ones available to swizzle, of which I don't seem to have anything new. So if I did yarn swizzle, and if I did nav bar, yeah, like I'm not particularly worried about completely replacing the nav bar. Like it doesn't need to be dynamic. We could potentially hardcode that. An internal component and has a higher breaking change. Okay. Danger, Will Robinson. Okay. So now we have this that we can play around with. Use theme context, use theme. So if I'm just like wrapping this, what does that look like compared to, because I'm pulling in items and stuff such. Okay, so I said I wasn't gonna wrap it. Oh, that's kind of. So I think I want to do this. I think we'll end up having to think about how we want to do. So what's filling this in? Like if we look at the Docusaurus config, yeah, so we've got navbar items and whatnot. You can literally just pull that in. So if I just, yeah, okay. I just do it at doc level. Fix all the things for me, please. Fix all. There we go. I'm gonna chop this up enough that I don't care too much. I don't care about the search bar right now. Toggle we do want. Theme context. Logo, icons, styles, retro compatible with V1. Nice. Appreciate it at least. We'll want to tweak that. What do we got going on with this? Can we pull in some things to make our navbar? Components, navbar CSS. So I think I'm just gonna pull this whole thing in. And we'll do new file navbar.access.ts. And well, I think we're gonna end up needing to have a discussion on how we need to pull these between things. It might be something that's just I mean, we can have a shared component for all of our Docusaurus stuff. But we also kind of want to use some of the same CSS on our front side website as well. But it might make sense just to copy and paste. We'll see what we're feeling like. Because especially like the folder structure is sort of defined. And I mean, I think we can change some of this. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Page wrap gradient. I wonder if we can adjust that. I'm actually kind of curious what an error looks like now that I say that. So let's start this up. Got enough there that it's going to recognize it right away. Page wrap. Go back. We're gonna remove that for the moment. We're gonna remove that for, well. Coming to you out. It's not gonna give us the nice thing. Okay, not defined. I'm okay with this. Okay with this. Shouldn't be defined. All this is doing is just combining last names and such. Oh boy. Okay, we're going to leave that in there for the moment. Okay. So we've got that there. Now I think what I can do is like import nav wrap. And like that stuff we're gonna have to play around with. So like that doesn't actually show up until you get here. And that's actually, I'm assuming, part of this. But there's also, so I think sidebar gets popped down here. So that's a separate piece. But the header includes this pop out part. Okay. Let's just do contact button. What is going to be the nav link? If we instead change our nav link in here to be that instead, navbar item. Nice. Did you fix typing? So very nice. Don't know if it's going to accept a class name property. Let's try it real quick. Of course, nav link is not defined. Leave that in here for right now. So what we're going to do is just also import it separate. It's going to be a little bit. We've got a whole bunch of different CSS things going on here, but it's fine. We're just confirming what we can actually do here. So this needs to go. No, right next door. Gradient decor is not defined. Yes, I know. I know it's not defined. Ah, there we go. Okay. Hey, look at that. So we've got stuff. So I think this is going to work. I don't think we'll be able to wrap. Which is a little bit annoying. We'll have to kind of create our own nav. And that might mean that we want to make our main website nav adjust that to fit. So we've got single components. We've got just general components. We've got theme components that we're pulling in and sort of like dropping stuff where we want and whatnot. What's that end up looking like? Yeah, that's. I mean, it's weird that GitHub disappears. Really weird. But I mean, we're just smushing together CSS, so I'm not surprised. So global. I think global is probably the last thing that we need to try to test out here. And I think there is a root component. And I guess if we look at our swizzle list, what is a part of that? Is there a root? There's a layout. Icon, search, blog, doc, heading, hooks. Layout, logo. That's interesting. There's a couple different items. So we might end up needing to play around with that a little bit. Theme provider, toggle. So layout. So what's this root? Can we go back to our themes? We were talking about root. How and should we use you? Wrapping our site with root. A root theme component is rendered at the very top of your Docusaurus site. It allows you to wrap your site with additional logic, creating a file. It will never unmount. And I think that's fine. All we need to really do is we want it at the top of the cascade. So I think what we can do is theme root.js. Is it capital? Yep. Missing return type. Uh, object pattern argument should be typed. Oh, because it's expecting TypeScript. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Now we try to import from our root. I think this will be in here. Global CSS. So like if we look at the pages, oh, component, layout component, I believe is the thing that imports the global. So we should be able to just do that. Instead we're going to be coming from, we're going to be importing from up a folder level /css /global CSS. And we are not running, so let's start that up again, and hopefully it works. Just noticed my lighting's a little bit weird. Look a little bit red, don't I? Well, whoa, look at that. And it's definitely black, because I remember I changed in our global CSS. No, in our theme CSS. I like made it real black. Look at that. So we can do globals. We can do components, either like small, more element type components, or the larger like navbar type components. We can pull in the theme, existing theme components, and modify those, or kind of piece things together as we need. Can I pull it up? We were looking at, where did, oh, I know. This was posted in our Discord, so link, does that work? Wait, can I visit Discord links in here? Hey, there we go. Okay. This was one thing that we were considering, because we have a bunch of OSS properties, and we sort of need a drop down or some way for somebody to kind of understand the project structure, I guess. Nope. I want to go to the original copy link. Right again. There we go. Yeah, so we can put this on all of our Docusaurus sites, and then you've got that common nav here where you can click and you'd be able to see and bounce between the different open source things that work on pretty easily. And then this right side here is sort of emulates what we currently have up at the top. And it, like, as you can see, I mean, we could pull this in through the theme stuff. So we can still pull it in from the Docusaurus config. But then we can kind of style it however we want. So I think this is definitely going to make sense for this. We might need to adjust our global styles a little bit, so those might differ between our Docusaurus properties and Gatsby. But it might not be an issue. Like having two things that are close-ish, I don't know. This starts to get outside of my realm of expertise. And I'm not going to necessarily be the one maintaining it, so it matters less to me how it fits together. But the big thing is that we're going to be able to write like one-ish set of vanilla extract CSS and then be able to reuse that, I think, pretty much everywhere. The components that we're using within our Docusaurus sites might end up having more specific things, so we might need to make some adjustments there. But we've got three Docusaurus sites, four. So I just noticed your sweet. I don't know when you sent that. Or I just said sweet. So it might make sense to have sort of a set of common styles and then something that are specific just to the Docusaurus sites. And then stuff that's specific just to our main website. But the big thing is that we'll be able to, at the very least, have a lot of reuse. And then how we want to compose those reused items is going to be something that could be up to us, which will be nice. That'll be nice. And the stuff from Infima, I wonder if we'll want to see if we can try doing a purge or something. Because if we start overwriting a lot of this, that CSS file is going to be big. I mean, even right now, like what is it? Can we see, I guess, reveal? 75 kilobytes. It's pretty big. If we're having it produce stuff for us, that's included in vanilla extract, but also includes everything from Infima that we're not using, it might be worth looking into like a purge CSS kind of situation. That's something we'll have to think about. And it also might make sense to just have our own theme. The other thing we also maintain is a bunch of type doc sites that effectively serve as the API. We've got a doc site in Docusaurus, the guides. We have the API docs on a type doc generated site. We tried to merge them together, but we didn't like the way the type docs site looked within Docusaurus, because we lost some of that fidelity in going from type doc to markdown and then into Docusaurus MDX rendering. So that's probably going to be the next thing that we'll want to look at, see if we can adjust the theme there, that we can have the styles there be the same. But that's going to be something we'll need to look at some more too, because it doesn't have a Webpack build to my knowledge. So we'll have to think about that. But they did just change the theme stuff around. It's possible. It is entirely possible. But I think we hit on everything we need to here. I think we checked all the boxes. This was a very productive 2 hours. I think this was a good spike. We proved out that we can make this work, and it'll just be deciding how we want to like have these things fit together. So I'll probably tweet out about this once we get it working, or I'll put something links in the description so of the video that anybody coming up to this later can see what we ended up with. Is it worth doing a raid? The question. There's only a couple of us here. And I don't see anybody actually streaming that I following. Yep. So I think we're just gonna call it. Thank you for everybody hanging out. Good news, hooray! We got stuff working. We're gonna be able to use all of your hard work in multiple places. I'm sure you'll be very happy about that. And then, if I haven't said it enough already, you know, this where'd it go? This new site is looking pretty slick. Oh, new website. Let's pull that up again. It's nice. It's looking real nice. I'm excited to see what we can do with our Docusaurus and moving stuff from here over there. I'm particularly interested in. I think we're doing animation stuff too. I need to see that. It's on my to-do list to look into. But good work, Jorge. Good news. Thank you for everyone stopping by. I will see you next week. Goodbye.